Hello, this is Darice at Moonlight Astro. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome back. This is Monday, where we usually talk about productivity. On my channel, I like to talk about astrology, planning, productivity, and also I like to give general encouragement where it's needed. We're living in very stressful times, so I hope you are taking care of yourself. How are you today? Sometimes it's just good to take a moment and ask ourselves that. How am I doing? And I certainly hope you're well. I'm wishing you all well. For the month of March, we are focusing on batching as a way to increase our productivity and to relieve our stress. And today, what I want to talk about was how to batch your content creation like a pro. This will allow you to basically create more energy in your space throughout your day, and it reduces what I refer to as decision fatigue. Batching is really great for that. Instead of trying to figure out, oh, when am I going to fit this in? How am I going to make time for this? I do indeed struggle with creating social media content, and this is something I need to adopt for myself. I do content creation batching for the content on my YouTube channel, and I do it for my monthly newsletter that comes out twice a month, actually, by bi-monthly newsletter. And if you're interested in that, you can just join my email list to find out about that. I also have that content available on Substack where I actually read it out loud, since I know sometimes people want the option of listening to something, not always reading something. And I use the content batching for that process, but I've not gotten to the point where I do it for my social media. And maybe that's something I'll adopt in the month of April. But basically, this is for solopreneurs or people. Maybe you have a job and a side hustle going on, or maybe you just want to get out of the habit of just posting on the fly when you feel like it. Because sometimes it can be really hard to generate the energy to come up with that newsletter or the content for the YouTube video, or come up for the content for the podcast, or when to figure out what you're going to post on social media. And I also know some people have an aversion to creating it ahead of time because they're worried that if they're not spontaneous, it'll be less authentic. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think if you give yourself permission to put yourself into what you're doing, that authenticity will still be there for you. Just planning out ahead of time, it gives you more space and bandwidth to take care of other things, and it makes it less stressful in the long run. At least that's been my experience. And there are tools out there to help you with that as well, and I'll talk about that as we get into it. But for those of you who are not familiar, maybe this is your first time learning about batching, it's where you take the time to group similar tasks together, and it helps you stay in the flow and save your energy. Multitasking, or task switching, as they call it, it can actually drain your energy. Batching will actually keep you focused and efficient. So maybe, for example, like I said, I do this for my YouTube content. I like to set aside a time where I come up with the ideas for the entire month, and then I'll come up with outlines for it. And I actually like to use AI to help me with that. I like to use Chat GPT. It's very helpful. I find it saves a lot of time doing it that way. And then it just gives me a general outline of what I want to talk about. And then when I'm actually doing the recording, I just allow whatever is coming through to come through. The outline is just a starting point for me. I don't have a fleshed out script word by word. And I think that's what helps me stay more in the moment and authentic. But it allows me the space and the time to prepare for it ahead of time. And so I'll take one day to do the outlines for the YouTube videos, and then I'll batch record in 2 or 3 sittings because that's easier on me energetically. And what's nice is I can schedule it ahead of time. And then if something does come up that I do want to talk about in the moment, I can still just go ahead and record an impromptu video at the time. And I'd like to start doing this with my social media posting. I'd like to get back to doing that once a week. And so it's the same thing. I can plan it ahead of time, like maybe just do the ideas for them, and then set aside a time where I actually write them out. I can set aside a time where I do the actual images for the social media post in Canva, for example, or I could do small videos ahead of time. I'm also looking at ways to pull out clips from my longer YouTube videos as a shorter social media video that I can post. And I'll get there at some point. I'm not there yet, just being totally transparent with you. I'm just basically learning as I go, like many of us are. And I invite you just to have that attitude with it, be playful. Just think of this as something fun to learn and experiment with and see what you like, see what works for you. And now for some of us, sometimes it is nice to kind of get into a really nice spiritual vibe for it. You can plan and brainstorm in one setting and, go ahead, set the vibe or the mood for yourself. Grab a planner, maybe some tea, light your candle or your incense. You can make this a sacred experience if that's what is calling to you. And then you go ahead and choose your content pillars. Like, for example, for me, it's astrology, planning, productivity, personal growth. And you can use a content calendar. Some people like to use Notion or Trello. I use a combination of Trello and Google Calendar and an actual old school calendar. I'm still looking at ways to maybe streamline that. But at the moment, that seems to be working really well for me. And actually, most of the time these days, I really rely mostly on my actual physical planner. And then I'll drop things into my Google Calendar as a reminder. Sometimes it's easier for me to do it that way, or as a way to block out my focus time for when I'm going to do the content creation. And then that way it helps me set up actual time to have that deep focus when I'm working on the outlines or when I'm doing the recording. And then it's a reminder to like put it in, do not disturb, that sort of thing. Some people like to use the Pomodoro method. That's where you maybe work for 25 minutes, take a break for 5 minutes, work again for another 25 minutes, and then take a break for 5 minutes. And after you've done 3 of those, like 25-5 settings, you take another break for like half hour. I think that's how that time, it's been a long time since I've done the traditional Pomodoro. I tend to do my own version of it. I find it's easier for me to get into the flow if I give myself, say, 45 minutes to do one thing. And then I have to take a break for 10 minutes, and then I'll work for another 45 minutes. Then I'll take a break for like half hour or an hour. That tends to work better for me. There are different ways. You can just play around with, see what works for you. So, for example, if you are setting aside that time to brainstorm what you want to do for example, say a series of social media posts, maybe you want to post twice a week for an entire month. Brainstorm 12 to 20 ideas, and you can use ChatGPT to help you come up with those ideas. And then you can also use questions that you've gotten from your audience in the past as prompts. You could look at your analytics, or if your business is seasonal, like mine is for astrology, we're currently in Mercury retrograde. April, the first half of it, is going to be the rest of the Venus retrograde and the end of Mercury retrograde. So when I set aside my time to do my social media post, it would make sense for me to have some brainstorming ideas around what's going on in the retrogrades for Mercury in April. And so that's probably what I'll do. Just something to think about. For other people, maybe it's for the topics that you coach on or that you write about. Maybe you want to do this for your newsletters that you have for the month. If you do have a weekly newsletter, that sort of thing. And like I said, you can do a session where maybe you do your script writing or your outlining in one session, or your captions for your videos. You could pick 3 to 5 ideas at a time, write out a rough outline or bullet points. The main thing is to not overthink it. Don't stress about it too much, because as you're in the flow of doing the actual work, new ideas will probably come to you. So you can just go with that flow. And the main thing is to just stay in your own voice. One of the things that I like to do is when I'm recording these videos, I imagine like one of my close friends who likes to watch my content. I imagine I'm just having a conversation with that person one-on-one. It makes it easier for me to connect with people who receive these videos and these messages. Think of it as maybe talking to one of your closest friends or a soul friend. That might be a helpful way to do that for you. And same with when you're writing your content for your newsletter or your social media post. And the main thing is, again, don't overthink it. And sometimes it's just better just to get something out there. Not everything has to be perfect and polished. A lot of times, you just sharing what works for you, what you've learned, and what's made life easier for you can be incredibly valuable for someone else. And I thank the people who responded to my videos and have let me know what's helped them. It means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it when people send me a comment or a thank you. And so I really encourage you to do that if you're watching other people's content and you're getting value from it. Even just a simple thank you can go a really long way for people. So I definitely encourage you to do that as well. For example, like I said earlier, I like to batch record my own videos for this channel. So when I do that, I set up the time to do that. I don't even have a fancy camera set up, but if you do have a fancy camera set up, set up the lighting. Some people like to change shirts or props for each video to distinguish the days. I'm not that fancy myself, but maybe I'll get there. You never know. And I like to record, like I said, 2 to 4 videos, take a break, and then go back to it. And you can do the same with your Reels or your TikToks. Maybe that makes it easier for you as well. And if you're having a day where you're not feeling paparazzi ready, you're not feeling like you're ready to be in front of the camera, you can then focus on the graphics or the carousels instead. I like Canva as well for my templates, for my thumbnails for my YouTube channel. Other people like to script. Other people like to use CapCut for editing. I am not at the point yet where I'm starting to edit my videos, but that's coming. I'm going to figure that out. So hopefully over the next few months, you will notice a difference. Hopefully things will get better as we go. And always, as you're doing this work, definitely take the time to check in with yourself, check your energy, take dance breaks, take a walk, and always remember to hydrate. Definitely always remember to hydrate. Okay, so we brainstormed our ideas, we've captured them, we've either created the post or we've done the videos. And then you could do this on another day where you set aside some deep focus time to just simply schedule and automate the social media post, to schedule the posting of your YouTube videos, to schedule the posting of the reels on Instagram or TikTok. And you can do it for that whole week or you can do it for the whole month. It just depends on how organized you are and what makes it easier for you. And this is why I actually find it easier to use a physical calendar for this sort of thing. It's easier for me to write down what I've scheduled ahead of time. And then I put reminders on my cell phone to actually do the actual posting, especially if I know it might be a really busy week with other things that I have going on. What I also like about doing an old school physical calendar, it's easier for me to literally check it off and make sure that I've done it. And that just works for me. So whatever system that you can create that helps you, remember to do the scheduling of the post and then to double check when they've gone up. And what I also like about scheduling things ahead of time, especially with social media posts, I do like being able to review it before it actually goes out to people, because sometimes I have missed something in the comments or one of the hashtags that I wanted to include, that sort of thing. I like giving myself the time and the space to figure all of that stuff out. And it also is fun too to play around with batch creating graphics, and I'd like to get back into that. I used to do that when I was posting more regularly on social media, and thinking about this video and putting this together is making me look at ways that I can do that and make that a more fun, playful process for myself. And there are also other tools out there to help you with scheduling your social media posts in particular. I need to look into that for myself. I haven't used anything like that in a while, and that would probably make it easier for me to be more consistent, frankly, with my social media posting. And I'd like to get to that at some point. But that is basically what I wanted to do. I just want to keep this short and sweet, give you an idea of what that looks like. If you got some value from this, definitely feel free to like this video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are receiving value from the content that I create for people. If you would like to learn more, feel free to join my email list. I do also have a free school membership where you get a free PDF on how to optimize your energy by working with the moon. I recently launched a paid membership that's only $9 a month. I'm looking to create a community of people who want to learn how to work with astrology and planning and productivity, and also just another space for people to gather and create with one another. When you do join my paid membership, you do receive my my $9 ebook on working and planning with the astrological signs of the moon, how to be more productive using those phases. Is how I plan what I'm going to do based on what astrological sign the moon is in that particular day, and that whole process around that. And I also want to create a community where people could ask me questions. So in that paid membership, I will have a monthly live Q&A. So if you'd like to find out more about that, you can join, or you can send me an email to join my email list, that sort of thing. Definitely feel free to put comments or questions down below in the video. Just wanted to let people know that some of the offerings I have for people. And I'm also available for astrology readings as well and Reiki sessions. And I currently have half off on those. So when you go to my website, it'll automatically give you that half price on the readings. And basically, I just want to go over reviewing what it could look like. For example, batching 1 month of social media, just step by step, just to give people an idea of what that could look like. So maybe week one, you brainstorm and then actually put on the calendar which ideas you're going to post that week. Week two, you could write your captions or your scripts, maybe block out 1 to 2 hours to write all 12 to 16 posts. Week three, you can create graphics or the film videos and then block out an afternoon to record or design. And then week four, you can edit and schedule and then batch and schedule for the whole upcoming month afterwards. And then, of course, you can reuse some of these ideas, of course, across different platforms. You could take some of those ideas that you created for a social media post, and then it could become a jumping off point for a YouTube video or a blog or an article that you have on your Substack. There you go. But that's basically what I want to go over. Like again, like I said earlier, I want to keep this short and sweet. I don't know about other people. I'm recording this in the middle of eclipse season, and my energy is kind of low, but I'm trying to take it day by day, pace myself as well as I can. And so I'm hoping again that you are taking good care of yourself, that you are meditating when you need to, that you're taking a walk or doing some kind of exercise to keep your energy and your mood up. Hopefully, you're getting fresh air when you can, ideally every day, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. And again, I hope you're staying hydrated and taking really good care of yourselves. Wishing you much love, peace, and joy. Easefully yours, Darice. And I will be back later this week for my upcoming Astrology for the Week video. And of course, I'll be back next Monday as well. And again, wishing you lots of love, peace, and joy. Easefully yours, Darice.